Hey everyone, Kaveris here, bringing you a guide to hard mode Garuda. This fight is definitely a step up from the hard mode Ifrit battle that you would have had to do before attempting this, and before coming here you're going to want to make sure that your gear has been upgraded accordingly. For your weapon, the Ifrit weapon isn't really required, but if you can farm it out and get it, that definitely helps. Else you can just use your Grand Company weapon or a weapon from Wanderers, that'll get you by. You're going to want a few pieces from Wanderers or Amdapor Keep to replace your artifact set before coming in here. While it is possible to carry people through here that have their artifact set, if everyone comes in with that and a really bad weapon, you're probably not going to beat the DPS checks that this fight has. Now, as you can see from this little bit here, the fight so far has been pretty much identical to the story mode version of Garuda. She's going to jump up and down like normal, do a slipstream, summon a bunch of ads, just going to burn them down. This part of the fight also is pretty much the same as the story mode version where the rock's concerned. You're going to want a minimum of about 5 left. If you have any fewer than that, you're just going to get one shot by ultimate on the phase transition to the second part of the fight. So you're really going to want to make sure to get these ads down as soon as possible. You see it here with what I'm doing. I don't have Swift Cast in this video. I did end up getting it a little bit later on. But basically what you want to do as a summoner is dot Garuda up, hit Swift Cast, try Disaster and Bane pretty much at the same time. You're going to lock all those ads down, hit about 3 or 4 of them with your dots, and they're basically going to die before they explode. And that ban really gives your other AoE classes, your black mages and bards and stuff like that, a lot of good time to burst them down to get them to a point where you only need to hit them once or twice for them to die. You're going to want to get really good at doing that. It's the timing for it is a little bit harder if you don't have Swift Cast, but it still is possible to do. Now this third jump that you're seeing her do here, she won't do this if you get it to about 60%. It skips that phase entirely. Sometimes it'll happen like it happened here, where she'll go do it and then jump to the middle. If she does that, she's only going to summon one set of ads and not 2, so you don't have to worry about having like 16 of these things out here that you have to kill. If she does it in between the jump, like sometimes she'll jump, summon the ads, and then you'll kill a few, and then she'll go to the middle and summon more. She will only ever have about 8 or 9 of them out at the time, so no matter what happens, you're not really going to get swamped with ads. After that last middle phase there, you're going to have a bit of a cruisy time getting it down to about 50%, which is where the fight starts to get interesting. She'll do the same attack that she did in story mode, jump to the middle, yell that out, and then blow up the entire arena with tornadoes. Now I see a lot of people hiding behind the rocks for this phase. You don't have to do it. If you have a scholar, drop a bubble like we did here, just stand in that, you'll be perfectly fine. Okay, now this is where the fight gets really interesting. She's going to summon, you can see these green tornado areas popping up around the arena. Stepping into those won't kill you outright, but you take about 2,000 damage or so and get shot off in a random direction. You're going to want to stand where we are here. This is a pretty good spot to do it. Have her all the way over in the corner where we've got her there, and have all of the range snug up against the other side of the arena. Now this is where it gets really interesting. These 2 ads are going to pop up here. One's going to have a green beam and one's going to have a red beam. The one with the green beam, you're going to want to focus that one down and kill it first. That one's going to be running around everywhere. Your off tank's not really going to be able to control it because everyone's just bursting the hell out of it. The red one, however, the tank should try to control as best as possible and keep it away from as many people as possible. These two little guys have the same attacks that Garuda's got, Frontal cleave that stuns, point blank area attack they do around themselves and stuff like that, and if you just sit them on the range like they are there, you can see everyone's health is spiking down really low, and it's very hard for the healers to keep up, especially if the healers get stunned. If both your healers get stunned, you're probably not going to be able to heal through that and keep the tank up at the same time. But once they're down, however, you've got a few moments to get some free DPS in on Garuda, and you're going to want to be doing that as much as possible, as often as possible. And now we get to the fun part. There's going to be 2 of these kiting phases now in the second phase. For this one, you're just going to want to move like we did here. If the tank has a position where she was there, he should just start legging it as soon as that one tornado there has disappeared. Run right around and stop about where he is there. These Razor Plumes don't do too much damage, but the more of them you kill, the higher your limit break bar gets, and you are going to want a level 3 limit break to make one of the ad phases really easy. There's also a Satin Plume that needs to be killed, otherwise it will sleep everyone. Now this will look familiar from the story mode. You're going to want to have her snug up against an area in the outer rim there, away from everyone, and you're going to want to have everyone pulled back as far away from her as possible. 2 more ads are going to come out here in a second, exactly the same deal, one with a red beam, one with a green beam. Focus the green down first, have the red off to the side somewhere. The beams do switch between the ads, it's not always the same ad with the same beam, and you may notice here and in the previous set of ads, sometimes the beams don't actually render for whatever reason. So if you're chasing the green one and you can only see a red beam, just assume that the other one has got a green beam there, and that's the one that you need to be killing. From here, once these guys are down, you're going to see the second kite phase. You'll end back up straight where you started in the first half of this phase, in the same spot. And basically once you get back to that point and it's settled, that's the entire fight. You're just doing that over and over until either you die or Garuda dies. So now that the boring stuff is out of the way, I'm going to get to the things that people should be watching out for, no matter what your role is in this fight, just to make it easier for everyone else doing it. The biggest thing that'll wipe groups is not having a clear kite path set up that everyone understands before you actually do this, and you can see that in this little bit right here. Not sure, like, for whatever reason, the tank decided to run off somewhere that was really bad, and as you can see now, Garuda's running through everyone, which is definitely what you don't want to happen ever. If she catches a few people with a Slipstream, they're done, that's it, and you don't ever want that to happen. You should end up about here somewhere. This is a good spot. If as a DPS you think you're going to be getting aggro on one of the ads, preemptively go and stand somewhere where there's no people. You can see we've got a bit of an area on the right there where one person is at the moment. If you're that DPS and there's no one standing there, just go chill over there. More than likely the ad that you've got DPS on is going to be facing you, looking at the tornadoes there, and it's not going to be hitting anyone else, and that's going to make your healers incredibly happy. Now here you can see pretty much the one thing you want to use your limit break for, and it's to make one of the ad phases incredibly short. It's where they come over, drop your level 3 meteor, and that's it. You've got a lot of free time to DPS Garuda down. And you're going to want to use that phase there to really pop all your DPS cooldowns, drain her of as much health as you possibly can. I don't think I mentioned this, but the ad with the green beam constantly heals Garuda while it's alive, and that's why you need to kill it first. The one with the red beam increases Garuda's damage output. So you've probably seen the tank here that we've got spiking incredibly low while that red ad is out. And that is one thing that the healers need to watch out for on this stage. You both can't just be AoE healing and ignore the tank. Although if it is a paladin, they have a few handy cooldowns they can drop on a pinch to make this phase, well, make the ad phases a little bit easier. But they can't be doing it every single ad phase, so you've got to pay attention to that as much as possible, as well as watching everyone else around you. Now as a healer, if you think you're going to get aggro, just do the same thing. Go stand off by yourself somewhere, just do as much healing as you can, and if one of them's on you, it's more than likely not going to kill you, especially if it's the green one. Provided your tanks can keep control of the red one, they should be right, because the red one also has an increased damage output, so it's going to be doing more damage than the green one is. Now the only other word of advice I can offer for the DPS in your group is to basically have your rotations down pat and know how much movement you have to do to get to where you need to go in the shortest amount of time, because you're going to want as much DPS up on Garuda in as many times of the fight as possible. Getting these skills down now of minimizing movement, having a good rotation, understanding how your class works and stuff like that is really going to help you moving forward into Titan once you eventually get this down, because just like this fight's a lot harder than Ifrit, Titan is a lot harder than Garuda, and you're going to want to have these skills down pat now before you try and move on to get all that stuff done. But that's about enough from me. This fight's almost done, so I'll just let the final moments play out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.
I fuck love you all. Oh, and the Marauder wins. Things I don't care about having a Garuda weapon.